Hello and welcome back to Book and Page Season 2. I am so excited that we've made it this far and am ready to just get into some literature and some ideas. First though, I am making some changes to this season, starting first and foremost with this reading list video. I thought you guys might want to know what I'll be covering this season in advance. That way, if you want to read along with me, you can do that. So, let's just get right into our reading list for this season. I seem to be starting Book and Page off with children's literature each season. We're going to be starting Book and Page Season 2 with Rick Riordan's first Percy Jackson and the Olympians novel. This is the first out of 5, and if you know Rick Riordan, you know he has a plethora of books, so I've just chosen one of many. This is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. You see, in Percy's world, it turns out the Greek gods are still in existence and are still having children with mortal men and women. Turns out Percy's just one of these demigods, and he is sent off to Camp Half-Blood to figure out his real father, but it's never that easy, especially if Greek gods are involved. I am very excited to tackle one of Rick Riordan's books, and how we'll be doing this, since there is quite a few chapters in here and they are relatively short, we'll be pairing 2 chapters per video. I'm excited. After we do a little modern Greek mythology, we'll be going back and doing some ancient Greek mythology, focusing on some comedies. Aristophanes' comedies are a fantastic little romp through Greek myth in a funny way, rather than a tragic way. We'll be doing 2 of Aristophanes' comedies. The first one will be The Wasps. Now, I have never studied The Wasps in class. It is about a father and son who disagree on many things. First and foremost, the jury that they're serving on and the case they're judging. But secondly, how much do you indulge when everything goes wrong? Since both of Aristophanes' comedies are divided into Act 1, Scene 1 and 2, and in Act 2, we'll be dividing each of those scenes up twice, resulting in 6 videos per comedy. So that divide might be a little difficult. If you want to just avoid it, you can always go ahead and just read each scene all together. That way you have some idea what's happening across the 2 videos. I mentioned the 2 comedies because after The Wasp, we'll be doing my favorite of Aristophanes' comedies, The Frogs. The Frogs is about Dionysus, but somehow a more cheerful Dionysus than what we saw in the Bacchae last season. This Dionysus, he's on his way to visit Hades in the underworld in order to return with Athens' most impressive Greek tragedian. It turns out, like I said, never that easy, especially when gods are involved. Poor Dionysus is going to have a little bit of a problem on this adventure. After the Bacchae, I think it's going to be nice to laugh, even if we're slightly concerned that Dionysus will turn against us for it. Third, or fourth, if you'd like to count both of those plays as separate, we will be doing an epic this year of epic proportions. The anonymously written Beowulf. Oh, this is going to be exciting. This is an epic that a lot of people have read, or at least know about, if not having read entirely. You see, it is an epic poem, and it's originally written in Old English. I have a facing page translation, so we'll be handling things in modern English. Still, the different era and the poetry style might be considered a bit of a turnoff. So, a lot of people might not have read Beowulf. It's definitely worth doing. If you love monsters, massive heroes beating up monsters, and learning some lessons along the way, Beowulf is for you. Now this is quite a long poem, so what we'll be doing, our translation here helpfully divided everything up into sections. 44 sections altogether, but they are very short, so we'll be taking 4 at a time to give us some things to talk about across those sections, rather than divided up too closely. I am so happy to be doing this. Beowulf is my bae. A wolf. I'll keep going now. Every season, of course, has to include some Shakespeare, and this season, we're gonna throw out those comedy, tragedy, history divides, and tackle one of the hard-to-define ones. Now, usually the fourth group that people name is the romances, but I'm not even sure if that would be applicable for this particular tale. You see, The Winter's Tale is more about non-romance, assuming far too many things, like a man who lies to another man to convince him that his wife's been unfaithful and that he should abandon their child. Yes. Oh, it's going to make a lot of people very uncomfortable. But some people might have actually heard of a particular part of this novel without having read the actual play, or even seen it. The Winter's Tale isn't always the first Shakespeare play on people's list to perform or view, but if you have heard of the line "Exit pursued by a bear," you have actually heard part of The Winter's Tale. We are going to dig into this and try and figure out if that particular person deserved to get mauled by a bear. Does anybody? This, just like last season's Richard III, is going to be a little harder to divide up. AKA, some of the scenes are very long, others are very short, so I have gone through and figured out my divides. We'll have 10 videos on The Winter's Tale entirely, and I'll go ahead and just put those divides up on the screen here rather than try and read them off. Hopefully that's relatively clear. We're figuring it out. We are going to just figure it out. And finally, we will be tackling another Inkling. Now, of the Inklings, 2 are very well known. That would be J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. Charles Williams, though, is another well-known Inkling within more academic circles. That's because the novels he wrote are much more philosophical and almost psychological in nature. They're sort of those weird ones that you're not quite sure what's going on. Are these events actually happening? Who is the good guy and who is the bad guy? Are there even those divides? I have selected The Place of the Lion for our season because this is actually a little town that experiences a sudden change when the Platonic ideals arrive one day. What are the Platonic ideals? Well, Plato tells us that there is a perfect version of every item somewhere in the universe, just up there in the ether. The perfect ideal chair, the perfect ideal bed, the perfect ideal lion. And it turns out these Platonic ideals have a tendency to make every other thing disappear, aka all lions disappear out of the area, and one gigantic one shows up in their place, the ideal lion. As this problem grows bigger and bigger, these people begin to wonder what they're actually going to do about it, and whether or not this is ultimately going to destroy their town and the world. To figure that out, we'll just have to get reading, I think. For The Place of the Lion, we will be doing a video on each chapter. It's gonna take some digging. Like I said, more psychological than nature. We're going to have to try and figure out what's happening in this one. I think we are going to have an excellent time. I had so much fun just picking out our reading list for this season. Getting down to reading them and discussing them, that's just going to take it to the next level. So, we have a lot of reading to do, from modern Greek myths to Old English ones. So what can I say? I'm gonna keep reading, and I hope you do too. Let's get to it.